And with all that said, I think it's time to bring on our special guest, elite 2027 quarterback recruit, who has been to Michigan. He likes Michigan, and considering Michigan in the lineup, we got Trae Taylor in the house. Trae, great to have you here, man. Welcome to Michigan Wolverines Live.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk a little bit about Michigan football.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, looking forward to it, Trae. All right, so before we actually jump into this, a question that I've been thinking about for a few days is how many times have you visited Michigan?
We could be pushing that 20 range, maybe a little, maybe a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, whenever somebody asks me that question, I'm like, I just know each time it keeps going up. So,
here we go.
It might be around that 20 range if I were to take a guess, but just
Definitely.
no, a lot. Yeah, for sure, a lot.
Definitely. Yeah, no. I was trying to, I actually tried counting. I got to about 15. I was like, all right, I don't even know. But yeah, great. So for those who don't know, Trae Taylor is a 2027 quarterback out of Illinois, one of the top premier passers in the nation for the 2027 class. And Trae, we are excited to have you on, man. You are you are definitely a community favorite. We've talked about you a little bit over the summer, and I know John has some questions we're going to get into.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Before we do that, I do have your Twitter, Twix, that I just posted the link in here. Is there anywhere else you want to let our audience know to find you at, to check out more about you?
You can find me on Instagram, TraeQB6. That's where I post a lot of my stuff, but everything goes on X or Instagram. So if you're seeing me on X, same things probably posted on Instagram. So, yeah, I mean, Instagram or X is where you're mostly going to see me.
Awesome. So everybody, we're going to ask Wolverine Nation, just like you have with Micah, just like you have with Andrew Marsh. Let's bump up Trae Taylor's social media. Let's get him some additional follows, okay? And thanks, Jackson Johnson, aka Double J, here coming in the clutch with the link to the Instagram account too. So we appreciate that. Okay. So first of all, one that we always like to ask, just about, kind of helps us understand a little bit more about you. So every athlete has influences in their lives. It could be family, it could be other athletes that you look up to, college, mentors.
Right.
Who are some of the people that you look up to who have helped kind of shape you as a person and as an athlete?
So this is how I like to break it down. So as a person overall, as before football, before everything as an athlete, I always like to say my parents. Just, if you're ever around me, you'll see a lot of resemblance as who I am, and a lot of that comes from them. And then that when I get in that mindset of it, like it's game time, a lot of that comes from my dad, and then when I'm relaxed a little bit more, a lot of it comes from my mom. But the whole family here is winners, and everybody wants to win. So we're always ready to go for anything. So that's where I say like my personality comes from. Now, if you were to get me on like on a field, and we're working, and you want me to go through a defense, or you want me to work a drill, a lot of that comes from Coach Dooley out of Detroit, Michigan, and then Steve Wilson out of North Carolina. Coach Wilson helps me as far as breaking down like film and defenses. We watch a whole lot of NFL football. And then Coach Dooley helps me as far as working the drill. Not like it's a drill though, like it's a game time situation. So that's where he really comes in play. And then I'd say just being as a recruit and knowing how to handle myself. I really give that to a lot of the kids I've been around, as far as kids from Sound Mind, Sound Body. Like I've been around Bryce Underwood for a whole lot now, so he's helped a lot as far as knowing how to become like a recruit that people enjoy being around, not that Hollywood star that nobody enjoys. They're like they don't want to come up and approach you. So I feel like those are like the really big people that come in handy. Now there are a lot more other people, but those are the main ones, like my starting five, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right, so you nailed your supporting cast, and obviously they've been a part of your life in many different facets for different durations, and they've made a lot of sacrifices along the way, along your journey. So what does it mean to you that you see that your supporting cast doing so much for you as Trae Taylor, the athlete and the person?
I mean, it's amazing. We we had a long summer, and I know it took away from what people usually call summer as far as relaxing from my parents, but for them to be able to sacrifice that and give up a lot of their time to be with me at these colleges to make sure I needed to make sure I needed what I needed to get out of this summer, just goes to show a lot for me, for me, and how much they support me really. Um, and not only this summer, they've been supporting me through my entire life as far as like if they came up and straight told me, this is a two-way thing. So whatever I'm willing to give up, they're willing to give up the same amount. And as soon as
Wow.
I stop willing to give up what I'm willing to give up, that goes the same with my parents. So, they've taught me a lot, and I'm still willing to give up anything to make sure that I get to where I need to get. And
There you go.
a lot of that comes from them, and especially showing that fire to go get what we want.
Hell yeah.
And then from Coach Dooley, Coach Steve Wilson, and then Bryce, they've really been with me for the past, yeah, I'd say about, Coach Dooley's been with me for about 9 years, then Bryce for about 7, Coach Wilson for about 5, and they know like, oh, this is something he really wants because they've been around me and they've seen me say, nah, like this is what I'm gonna go do because I need to do this to make sure I end up where I want to be. So I feel like they've now seen me truly say that I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, excellent answer, man.
Love that. And by the way, the community here right now is giving you some love. Dependent Fanatics, one of our moderators and a member here, saying all the great things. Go get him, Trae. We'll all be there for you to support. So you've got you're now a friend of the channel, friend of the network. So you've already got some support in here. So with all that said, I'm just going to ask a simple one. A lot of sports out there. What made you choose football, and kind of what went into the decision to choose football and the success you've had so far?
So really was I was really around football ever since I was born. My dad always tells people whenever they ask like how long have I been around football, he literally tells them, since day one. I came home from the hospital and I literally went to an arena football game with him that night. Right. So I've literally been around football day one. And it just kind of always stuck with me. My dad played football and I grew up around it. I was a huge basketball player. That at one point, that was kind of swaying me back and forth. But COVID hit, and that's when I finally said, like, I gotta go. This is what I want to do. Because you can't do anything with basketball when COVID hit. There was no gyms. You can't really go outside. All the parks are closed off. But I mean, with football, you can go out to a random field and nobody's gonna say anything as long as you can go get that work in. Between breaks on my Zoom calls, I would go downstairs on my hardwood floor and work on drops in my socks, so it helps me keep my balance, right? So those are some of the little things that kind of made me say like, this is what I really want to do. And I finished off basketball for my last 2 years in middle school, and then I finally just said, nah, like I need to really just lock in on football. And I feel like that's what kind of made me say, like, this is the sport I love because I showed myself that I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to get what I wanted to get.
Definitely. All right. Yeah, it's very interesting that COVID kind of, shaped your lane that you went down, but it was almost, a little bit of a blessing of disguise, I guess, because now you got to focus on,
Right.
the path you're on now.
It was kind of like it just like cleared everything up for me. It was more like pushed all the noise away and made it between those two sports. And then I chose from there.
Yeah, that's epic, man. That's epic. Yeah. So, all right. So, walk us through the recruiting process, Trae. Anything that you're okay with sharing. What is it about Michigan that's sticking out to you over other schools? And what is it like so far in the process, being at 2027?
With Michigan, I mean, like you said, you've counted 15 times I've been there, and each time I'm meeting somebody new. I'm doing something different. They know how to show the love for sure, and like whether it's players, coaches, I mean, it could be the equipment manager. Like somebody's always going out of their way to show like we want you here. So that's always a positive because Michigan's been recruiting me for a very long time. They offered me going into my freshman year, so my 8th grade year, and they like that just goes to show they really believed in me because they weren't really throwing out many other quarterback offers around that age.
Right.
And then as far as the recruiting process, it was just it was there was these moments where it was sped up and then it slowed down and then it sped up, right? So that was a little weird for me because obviously I'd never gone through it before truly. But I enjoyed it. I'm kind of glad that it strung out, so I was able to, and it wasn't like a back to back to back thing with all of the offers and recruiting. So I was able to kind of already start to narrow down a little bit and really process the schools that have offered me and see what I like about them, see what I don't like. And obviously, I know this recruiting process is still going on, but I mean, so far it's been amazing, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did, especially with it being the summer, and it gave me a little bit more time to process as opposed to being in the school year. And now I'm dealing with school, I'm in season, and I'm trying to not deal with, but process what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot to juggle, and
Yeah,
and
no
I
kidding.
definitely everybody, because of everything, because we've talked to a couple of people in this situation, and like the juggling act is real, and
Right.
so I have a lot of respect, for what you're doing, because
Thank you.
not a lot of time to chillax and party and everything. You're busy.
Right. Yep.
So we already kind of covered how many times you've been to Michigan, but what are you looking forward to on your next visit?
So next time I go there for the Michigan-Texas game.
Nice.
So
Great game. Yeah.
Good choice. Yeah.
you know what? I'm really interested to see how they deal with a new team, because the games I've gone to in the past, I went to the Ohio State game. I've gone to I think I went to when they played Colorado. It was like UConn or something, right? So this is gonna be a game where now like it's early in their season. It's not their last game of the year, and I'm interested to see how they come out and deal with Texas, especially with them being such a highly ranked and anticipated opponent.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that game's going to be just insane. So, going back to recruiting a little bit, what are some of the factors that are the most important to you when it comes to making a decision? I know you're at 2027, so it's very early in the process, but do you have some like key factors for you that you're looking for?
Yeah, so my first thing is education and liking the school for the school. Coaches tell you all the time, when you're making this decision, act like you don't play football, because you don't know what could happen, right? So make sure you like the school for the school. And academics for sure. How are they going to help me, in the long run when football is done? Because realistically, football could be done with you at the age of like 30 something. And you got to think like you're 30, right? You got almost 40 more years of your life. What are you going to do with it? So for sure, you got to education. How is that education and degree going to help me? And then another thing is the offense. How is the offense suiting me? Is it something that I see myself in, but I don't see myself being successful in, or is it something that I'm like, oh yeah, I could work with this, or just making sure that it fits my personality. And then the last thing is who I'm surrounding myself with, right? So I want to make sure I surround myself with people not only that are good coaches, but also good teammates, and then also good people off the field and on the campus. Because I don't want to go somewhere that, I go there and I'm like, oh, these are none of the people I wanted to be around. Like these are not the kids that I wanted to come here, and it's not the same feeling. And I feel like with this recruiting process, it's helping you see, you could have a 25 right now that's going to commit to a school that you might go to, and you can see how they're going to treat you because I'll be a teammate with them, right? So I feel like seeing how that works out and seeing how they are going to interact with you is a good way to already start to process like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, a little off script here, but like, are there some players you've gotten familiar with who are currently on the roster now that you are building a bond with?
Yeah, so I Samaj Morgan.
Nice.
Yeah, that I mean I've known Samaj for maybe going on 3 years, 3 or 4. So I've known Samaj for a while now. Alex, I've been building that relationship with. I know Jacob Oden. Like, I, honestly, there's a lot of kids on the team that I've actually had a good relationship with, and even on that last team, from Trevor Keegan to JJ, two Illinois natives, right? So I've been able to kind of build my relationship with kids not only in the program now, but also in the NFL and
Right.
doing their thing. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure JJ will always make time or availability. He's. I mean, we've seen that with recent recruits like Brady Hart and others.
Right.
So that's always good. To have that alumni connection, really. So I mean,
Right.
that's really cool. To see that it's continuing.
Yeah, and what I know about Michigan, both having gone there and graduated from there, and also what I've heard from just in general, just everybody's going to be so supportive, and it sounds like you've already got that started. So I expect that'll continue as you kind of go through this journey here, the next couple of years. So
Yes.
As you think through the rest of your high school career, you think through, what some goals might look like for you. I mean, what are you hoping to achieve this upcoming? We got a season here coming up, so what are you hoping to achieve here as far as next steps, next goals for you?
For team goals, state is like, that's the end all be all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new team that we've had since 2020, so we're gonna have a lot of new faces. So we'll be interested to see how a new offense. So we'll be interested to see how defense is trying to attack us. We got a really strong run game and pass game, so it'll be fun to see how that is. But state for sure for our team, and then some personal goals is really just like be the best leader I can be, but also make sure that I want to at least throw for close to 4,000 yards, and touchdowns. I don't really care as long as we're putting up the points, right, and we're winning games because that's really what matters. But yards for sure, I want to be close to that 4,000 yard range, and then I just feel like there's a lot of things that are personal goals that I really need to achieve this year and want to show because I've got a lot to show this year. So I'm ready to get out there and start playing real football.
Hell yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, great goals, man. You seem to definitely be a team guy, not a me guy, which is great to hear. I mean, honestly, Trae, I think a lot of us, not only, me and John, but others in the chat, we are, you seem to have your head on the right place. You seem to be focused and driven, which is where you need to be. Remain mindful, remain humble, and keep working, which you seem to have that mentality. But we're going to pull up your huddle tape here and, just let our community know, like, tell us the kind of player you are, with what fans would get if you do decide to pick, whether it's Michigan or another school.
So I feel like what fans will really get is a kid that gets the ball out really fast, very smooth, knows where to put the ball, and I'm a kid that if I miss, I'm gonna come back and take a shot. Right? I'm not scared of making a mistake as long as it's not like a consistent thing. I'm also someone that I feel like when I need to, I can make a play as far as using my legs, not only getting down the field, but also maneuvering my way to make a throw open. So I feel like really you're just gonna get a kid that's gonna I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you're gonna get a kid that knows how to do a little bit of everything, and I'm gonna do it to 100% that I can, and I'm gonna get in and out of plays if I don't like them. So that's one thing that you're gonna see this year if you watch my film. I'm gonna be calling the plays. So if I don't like anything, or if I'm seeing something, I'm gonna change the play, and we're gonna go fast, and we're gonna make sure that they know like we're gonna see who really put that work in this summer. Because I know
okay. I was gonna ask you. So your coach has given you the green light to do audibles, huh?
my coach has given me the green light. We're good to go.
Excellent. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, just looking at your highlight tape, man. I mean, for your age, you're obviously elite, and you know this, but obviously you look at this tape and you're like, well, I got to work on this, work on that. But I mean, you seem to have great throwing power. You're getting the ball to your guys in stride. Yeah, I mean, you seem to be a very advanced decision maker for your age. So, I mean, I'm excited to see your tape this year. What are, if you can share with our community, what are maybe 2 to 3 things you're looking to work on this year?
For sure, last year I know a lot of things was pocket presence. I feel like I escaped the pocket a little too fast when I didn't exactly need to last year at times. So this year, that's one thing I've really been working on, and I think that'll be a big thing. You'll see change in my game. And then another thing is just ball placement, and the power and spin behind my ball will be completely different than it was last year.
Okay, very good, man. Well, good luck on that, my friend. All right, John, you
Yeah.
have the next one.
Well, before I do that, one thing I noticed, in addition to getting the ball out quick, is that you're very successful throwing to your left, which is something that in the past for us, for Michigan, hasn't always been 100%. So I like the fact that you can really go any direction. You can and you can especially throw to your left because I think that does add to your versatility too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, throwing to my left is a whole lot easier than throwing to my right. Not to say that throwing to my right is hard, but throwing to my left, like I can make some throws now. Like throwing to my left is what I do, but throwing to my right is like that's when I'm really, I wouldn't say like overly concentrated, but throwing to my right is when I say I'm more precise, but I can make the crazier throws to my left. And I know that might sound a little weird, but
No, it makes sense.
If you watch that, if you kind of watch my film and a little bit of my tape, I mean, you see that a little bit.
I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have a side preference or a zone preference.
Sure.
So, I mean, yeah, definitely not unsurprising. I'm sure, your goal is to become almost ambidextrous with your passing in the sense of you can do right or left or, both sides, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that probably one of the reasons they gave you the green light on the audibles is exactly what Justin's saying here, who's one of our members. Justin, thanks for your membership. But Trae Taylor film looks like he can read the defense already. That shows me that he's ahead of the curve. So that's definitely true.
I mean, a lot of times it's not just reading it in the moment. It's a lot of film work that goes behind that, watching huddle. So like we played this Friday. I've already kind of mastered what our opponent's going to do. And protection wise and what we want to do. So a lot of it is just pre-work before we really get into the game. And then when I get into the game, if they want to throw a little curveball in there, I'll just read that and chop it up on them. So run or pass.
Love it. So I know you mentioned a couple of the players, but in terms of the coaching staff at Michigan, I mean, who have you really connected with from a coaching staff perspective? Coach Campbell, obviously one that I'm curious about since he's running the offense and the quarterback. But who on the coaching staff have you kind of formed a bond with already?
So I obviously Coach Campbell, and Coach Synagoga. So those are the two I say I form the biggest bond with right now. Um, I mean, we miss. There's a lot of coaches that also left that I was close with, unfortunately. So Coach Klink last year, I was really close
Clink, yeah.
with. He's the one that really got me into Michigan and started that recruiting process there. But nah, Coach Campbell and Coach Campbell and Coach Synagoga are the two right now that I'd say I have the biggest connection with, and I'm still building my connection with a lot of the other coaches. But it's now that rebuilding that relationship now because some of the coaches I've like first time I've ever seen them was at that barbecue. So rebuilding a lot of that connection.
Yeah, how was that barbecue, by the way? Like, what was your impressions of the barbecue, the big house?
The barbecue was amazing.
Yeah.
It was. I had Carter there with me. I'm sorry, Brady Hart.
Yeah.
Dante Braun was there. So I was able to connect with them, get to go through their thought process a little bit. So that was really fun, and then get to hang out with them just as normal kids now. So it was good to get there and connect with other quarterbacks that are kind of like me. And then I was also able to see the campus for the first time, really. So that was a good thing. I really enjoyed the campus. It was very pretty. So especially the business school, they have a ginormous
Ross.
business building. So yes, Ross building.
Yep.
So the barbecue was amazing.
How was the food? Did it taste as good as it looked?
Yeah, I mean, the food was amazing. The food was amazing. I think I had some chicken and some mac and cheese, so I definitely enjoyed it.
Cool. All right. So my last question, Trae, and thank you for spending this amount of time with us. We really appreciate it. What you are in this recruiting process, and you obviously have some time to go. I mean, do you have a timeline? You don't have to share if you don't want to share it publicly, obviously. But like, do you have a timeline in your mind? Being a quarterback, it appears these, for quarterbacks, their timelines are a little different than other players. Like, do you have that in your mind? Do you kind of know what you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this recruiting process from quarterbacks has gotten shorter and shorter as far as when they want to commit because a lot of these other positions are basing off where they want to go based off of where the quarterback goes or who the quarterback is that's coming to the school. So the best ideal situation for me is to commit by the beginning of June. So I've got a little bit of time, but not too much. But that'd be the best ideal situation for me. Now, that's if everything goes right, 100% sure I want to go to school because I don't want to be one that, says I'm going to come here and then decommit later, right? I don't feel like that's fair to a lot of the coaches. So for sure, I would say that if everything goes how I kind of want it to go and start to truly break down this recruiting process by the beginning of June for sure. But something could change where it gets pushed back a little bit.
Good
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing that. And people are, we have Keegan, one of our members. He's like, June, all right. So they're liking that. And Moose likes it too. And he did give a super chat. So before I get to my last question, as we wrap up here, Moose with the 2, very smart young man, and I love his film. So
thank you,
Moose. Throw the moose. We have a moose emoji. Throw the moose emoji in there. Anybody who's got it, we appreciate Moose. All right, and then really, final thoughts. What are your kind of final thoughts, or anything else that you want to share with the Michigan community here? Because look, this is a community that's really tapped into recruiting a lot. Like, people really care about recruiting here. TJ is locked in. Moose, Moose a little. So like, yeah. What would you like to share as people are looking at recruiting for and just in general? What would you like to share?
I would like to say that first of all, I'm extremely blessed and thankful for all the support, especially from Michigan fans. And then another thing I'd say is that so far this recruiting process from Michigan has been amazing. Everything has been great and very smooth. So, now it's just this home stretch of making sure that everything, can make sure that I can still really feel connected to them and, make sure that they keep doing what they keep doing, because at the end of the day, they'll have a shot. So, I just want to say that so far everything's been going good, and yeah.
Definitely. And let everyone know, where they can find you, Trae, in terms of socials.
On my Instagram, Trae QB6, and then on my X, QB6 Trae. Those will be the ats if you want to find me on social media. That's for sure where I'll be at.
Very cool. And Trae, and shout out to your parents, man. They've raised an incredibly great young man. I mean, you are on path, my friend. But my what I'll say is, stay humble, stay mindful, keep working, my friend, because you're on it. Keep climbing the mountain. We greatly appreciate you coming on our show. And John, any last thoughts before we let Trae
go? Blue said it better than I could. Enjoy the process, take it all in, and you have an open invite. If you have a platform, you have something you want to share with us in the future or share with the community, let us know and bring you back. But really appreciate your time, man.
Thank you for having me on here, and go Blue.
Yeah, go Blue, Trae.
Thank you.
Go Blue. All right. We got to go Blue out of him. So that's that. I think that might be a first.
Yeah, without us going first, right? I mean, no, listen, excellent young man. I mean, I don't know about you, John, but I was impressed from the first question to the last. I mean, he is on path. His parents are doing a fantastic job raising him. He seems to be, not only focused on the field, but off the field. And just, I mean, I'll tell you what, John, that looks like a Michigan man if I've ever seen one, but we'll see how it goes, We hope June it's maize and blue. I'll tell you that.